The Xbox handheld and handhelds in general, I think this is the future of Xbox. This is the future of console gaming. It's been a wild last couple weeks in the console space. It went from Xbox is getting crushed, Xbox almost closed down their studios, to Xbox coming out and clarifying that no, in fact, that wasn't the case, and they doubled down on gaming, and they spent billions of dollars to go get Activision Blizzard, and there are lots of callbacks to emails that were linked saying, hey, we're Xbox, we're going to spend Sony out of business. We're going to spend PlayStation out of business. To then, later in the week, last week, Sony coming out, not coming out, but ex-Sony executives coming out and explaining, hey, I don't like the direction that Sony is going. I was against this. And then Sony closing more studios, more games, more projects, rather, that were about live service. And now all of a sudden the talking point in the console space on the internets and the interwebs is, oh my goodness, Sony is in trouble. And it can flip. The perception, the talking points can flip on a dime. Now, what is the truth where all that is concerned? And what does that have to do with handhelds? Well, I think the truth is that Microsoft and Xbox is in a very strong position with their gaming platform, the ecosystem. They're clearly leading the industry and leading the space. I think Sony is in a really strong position with its hardware, currently with the PS5, and I think it's struggling a little bit to find its footing in this new space of gaming, where console is stopped growing, and now everyone is looking towards PC. They're looking towards handheld. They're looking at dropping their games everywhere, always. And again, I think Xbox is ahead with Game Pass. But both are in strong positions. How it all plays out, remember, Sega was in a really strong position before it went under after the Dreamcast. It only takes the blink of an eye, things can change. I think Xbox is in a really strong position. I think the handheld is the future. I think the reason it's the future is because we live in this age where gaming has to adapt to you, the gamer. Mobile devices allow that. The Nintendo Switch dropped its reveal video for the Switch 2 last week. It became all the hype. I think they've secretly led the way, if I'm being perfectly honest, over both Xbox and PlayStation in that regard. They've been mobile first, and by mobile, I mean handheld first, for a while. PC is starting to jump on that train. Xbox, PlayStation will now follow jumping on that train. And because of technology, we're all going to benefit. Gaming now is going to fit into our lifestyles. We're not going to have to fit our lifestyles into gaming, and I think it's only a good thing. And so I wanted to go over, since the Nintendo Switch handheld was revealed, since all of the drama and news came out, I want to go over what we know about the Xbox handheld. I want to give kudos to Phil Spencer and the Xbox team, because I think they're in an incredibly strong position. For those of you that don't know, PlayStation shut down 4 additional projects, I believe. All they were live service games, live service projects. On top of that, a former CEO, a former head, a C-suite executive at PlayStation, and the name escapes me right now. I apologize. I should have had it up, but the purpose of this video is to go over the handheld. But he came out, you can go look it up. He came out and talked about how he thinks, Sony is headed in the wrong direction, essentially, and that Xbox, since they've spent all this money on Activision Blizzard and their strategy, they're showing year over year revenue increase. They're showing an increase in subscribers and Game Pass subscribers. Long story short, Xbox is in a really strong spot. So let's go over the handheld. Let's go over what we know so far. Lo and behold, PC dropped this over the weekend. Pure Xbox dropped this over the weekend. And I was like, yes, this is what we're going to do a video on. Let's go over everything we know about the handheld. See if we can summarize it, talk about it, share our opinions. I'm all about the future of handhelds here. I will be getting day one, the Nintendo Switch, first of all, but day one, the new Xbox console, when we hear more about it. I do think we're going to hear more about it, get specific details by the end of this year. And then a year after that, I will be getting day one, the handheld. Handheld gaming is going to increase my gaming capacity exponentially, and I'm very excited about it. Before we jump into it, though, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to this channel. My name is X1 the Gamer. We drop videos like this all the time right here. We hang out every day. We have fun. Also have a podcast, X1 Daily Podcast. Make sure you go listen to it. It's just this video in podcast form if you prefer listening that way. Also do have a daily newsletter that goes out where I write up what we talk about here. So make sure, again, a link is in the description below. Go subscribe to the newsletter as well. And let's jump into it. This is PureXbox.com. Xbox handheld, everything we know so far, including the latest rumors. We're going to skip down to what's the latest news about the Xbox handheld. The Xbox handheld was first mentioned in a Windows Central report back in 2021, which noted that Microsoft had been dabbling with prototypes for a while. It wasn't until 2024 Xbox boss Phil Spencer hinted an interest in such a device, though highlighting that his team had been investigating, quote, different hardware form factors. Now, what is the best hardware form factor? Well, let me show you. I have it right here for you. For those of you listening, I stepped off camera there for a second. This is the PlayStation 5 controller. I think it's an excellent form-fitting controller. When you're playing the PlayStation 5, you're just used to the way that it feels. It's the same with an Xbox controller. Then enter, you can see here, I'll show the side of it. This is the PlayStation Portal. And you can see all they did was take the controller, split it in half, and put a big-ass screen in the middle of it. And I think that that's exactly the form factor that needs to work for an Xbox. What sets an Xbox apart as a handheld is the controller. That's it. I want to see that. I want to see what PlayStation has prototyped here essentially for you. I want to see it as a handheld. It just fits. I don't like the Nintendo Switch handheld. I always play on a Pro controller. It's superior. I don't like the ROG Ally. I don't like the Steam Deck. I don't think those fit and mold to your hand in the way that gaming devices should. Now, the tricky part is, how do you make that mobile? That's not really as mobile as a square piece form factor like a Nintendo Switch that can slide in and out of a bag. I don't think that you need to be so concerned with that, because it can come with a case that you throw it in. It's still mobile. So I'm not so sure that flattening it out in the same way that like a Nintendo Switch is flattened out, or the ROG Ally or the Steam Deck, is the solution. I think players want to play with that type of control spectrum. I know I do. It makes gaming that much better. So as far as form factor, that is the form factor that I hope they come out with. So Phil Spencer hidden an interest in early 2024. That they've been looking at different hardware form factors. Things began to ramp up throughout 2024 in regards to the Xbox handheld, with Microsoft pushing out a survey about handheld gaming devices, and Phil Spencer again teasing an awesome future in hardware with an interview with IGN. And then finally, Phil confirmed to Bloomberg in November, so just a few months ago, that he loved the idea of making an Xbox handheld, but with the caveat that it's a longer-term goal, with the focus for now being on improving existing Windows handhelds. Here's what he said, quote, longer term, I love us building devices, and I think our team could do some real innovative work, but we want to be informed by learning and what's happening now. So I think that's smart. Take your time, do it right, have no problem, not in a rush to get it. In the meantime, I've got my Xbox, I've got my PC. I don't need a handheld right now today. Long term, this is definitely something that not only would I be about, like I said, day one, I'm all in on that. The other thing that I think is being left out here, it needs to have, and we might get to it later here in the article, localized. You got to have the ability. Phil Spencer says a handheld needs to have the ability to play games locally. Agree with that. I don't want streaming from the cloud. I mean, streaming from the cloud, when it gets to a point that it just works seamlessly wherever you're at, fine. In the meantime, the ability to download a game locally on an Xbox operating system and be able to play that on your handheld with a good battery life, I think minimum 5 hours. I think 5 hours is the standard. That's all I want. Right there. Boom. You got me. You sold me. Let's go on. Since then, it's been reported that Sony also might be working on a handheld to compete alongside the Xbox device in the future, although everything on both sides still seems to be in the early stages as things stand. In 2025, all we've heard about the Xbox handheld so far is that Team Xbox wants to bring a console-like experience over to Windows handhelds during the year, and naturally that would extend to the dedicated Xbox handheld in the future. Again, I think that console-like experience is going to be key. What's going to set the Xbox handheld apart from an ROG Ally, for instance, or from third party, is that built for gaming experience. That's all that's on the operating system. There's nothing extra there. When you pick up and play an ROG Ally, it's fantastic. It's a great device, but it's not plug and play. You do have to go into settings with each of the games in order, if you want the optimal gaming experience for each of those games. That just needs to be built in. I don't want to think about that. I just want to, like a Nintendo Switch, put in my game and play. And that's what an Xbox handheld needs to have. So what are the rumors saying about the Xbox handheld. Here's Pure Xbox. There have been plenty of rumors going around about the Xbox handheld as of late, some of which are more interesting than others. A lot have been focused around exactly when we're going to see the device for the first time, with some believing it could even be as soon as this year. I think we're getting a teaser, maybe. I think much more likely is next year. I think what we're for sure going to see this year is the next Xbox, that generational leading Xbox, the greatest jump in a generation, as Sarah Bond says, than ever before. It's also been rumored a couple times that the Xbox handheld may launch alongside the next Xbox console, which itself has been rumored to arrive anywhere from 2026 onwards. It seems the plan, at least as things stand right now, is for Xbox to go into the next generation with some seriously cool new hardware for fans to enjoy. And this is what kills me. When you see out there, you're going to see it in the comments here, Xbox is dead, Xbox is third party. How can they be third party if they're creating hardware? It's people just not logically pay attention. It's people ultimately mad that some Xbox titles are going to be available on multiple platforms. That's not third party. If you're still creating hardware, if you're still creating native hardware for it. So let me reread that sentence. As things stand right now, Xbox is going to go into the next generation with some, quote, seriously cool new hardware for fans to enjoy. And I can't wait. I personally cannot wait. What games will the Xbox handheld support? There's no way of knowing exactly which games the Xbox handheld will support until Microsoft confirms them, but considering it's likely to be a Windows PC style device, the focus will be around the Xbox app on PC. I agree with that. I think you're going to see, it's going to be able to play a couple games. Number one, I don't think it will be the Windows app. I think it's going to be a standalone Xbox operating system, and I think that operating system, like the VP of Next Generation have said, is going to influence Windows more than Windows is going to influence that operating system. The operating system, there's 2 decades in fine-tuning that bad boy and making that thing as optimal as possible for gaming. I think that is just going to incorporate, and they're going to open it up in a way for PC games. So, for instance, Game Pass Ultimate games, I think will be available on the next generation of console hardware and handheld hardware from Xbox. So I think there's not going to be the separation anymore of Game Pass and Game Pass for PC. I think it's just going to be Game Pass eventually, and that's available on all of the Xbox hardware. If you can download a game via PC Game Pass, you'll almost certainly be able to play it on the Xbox handheld as well. And then more compatibility may be added on top. Don't forget about the likes of Xbox Cloud Gaming and Xbox Remote Play. That will enable more console titles to be streamed to the Xbox handheld too. That is something that the PlayStation Portal, that I absolutely love, is able to do right now. In fact, they just introduced cloud streaming, so you don't have to stream from your console. But streaming for your console, it's pretty decent. It's pretty decent, and it's only gotten better over time. So the technology is definitely there to support that. I think it's not a replacement of the next console. It's going to be complementary. Complementary? Why am I saying that wrong? Complementary. Ha ha! There it is. It's going to be complementary to the next console for sure. So will the handheld get a 2025 release date? No. Yeah, there's no chance of that happening. How much will it cost? That is a good question. Here's what Pure Xbox says. It's really hard to know how much the Xbox handheld will cost, as we really need more details to form an educated opinion. If it takes the form of a Windows handheld PC as expected, it almost certainly not going to be cheap, as evidenced by the likes of Asus ROG Ally and Lenovo Legion Go that are currently on the market. Having said that, I do think that Xbox is in a little bit different of a situation where they can use the hardware to subsidize their Game Pass, essentially, and their games. That's what consoles are. And so I think it will be closer to the Nintendo Switch in price. The Nintendo Switch, at least rumors and the leaks that we got from the Nintendo Switch 2, is that it's at $399. I think anywhere between $349 and $399. I think that's correct. I think that that is the sweet spot for a handheld. Here, Pure Xbox disagrees with me, though. They say, if we had to make a guess, we'd say the Xbox handheld may cost around $500 at launch. Phil Spencer has highlighted in the past how pricing things too highly won't grow the market, but devices like these are expensive to build. Yes, but we're talking about scale here. The more you build, the cheaper it costs. And I think if the goal is to get it in the hands of more players, it's got to match the price of the Nintendo Switch. Else, if I'm a parent, it doesn't benefit me in buying the Xbox handheld that comes with Game Pass if it costs a lot more if it comes with a heftier price tag than Nintendo Switch. I think it's got to match the Nintendo Switch. Here's what we've learned about the Nintendo Switch too. I don't care about graphical fidelity. I am willing, as long as it's close to like the Xbox Series S is today, you give me that in a portable with portable functionality, and I am all about it. It doesn't need to have the latest graphics. That's what your big ballsy console is for. I think it's going to be a tiered pricing situation, my personal opinion. I think you're going to have the big ballsy, better than ever, best way to play Xbox games console. That's going to be expensive, $500 plus. Then underneath that, I think you're going to have the handheld. And I think the handheld has to match the Nintendo pricing. I just think it does. I don't even think that's a question. If you have to lose money on it, you lose money on it. You're not going to be able to compete in the handheld market when, number one, you're already trying to differentiate yourself from PC gamers. I think that's going to be very difficult to do against the Steam Deck. I think where your sweet spot lies is right around where the Nintendo Switch is, and say, hey, you got access to all these Game Pass games that you can play on your PC, but by the way, you can also play them on this handheld. And oh, by the way, this handheld is half the price of the Steam Deck. I think that's just what it needs to be. I would love to know what you guys think, though. Number one, is an Xbox handheld something that you're interested in? If you're not, let me know. I'm all about it. Again, I think gaming needs to evolve to your lifestyle. Your lifestyle should not evolve to gaming. Like, you should not tailor your lifestyle to fit gaming in. Gaming should tailor itself to your lifestyle so that it's convenient for you, so that you can play more when you want to, how you want to, where you want to. I think that's the future of gaming. I think that's the vision of Xbox. I think that's where all consoles are headed to. I think that's why the Nintendo Switch has had so much success and the Nintendo Switch 2 is so hyped. But I could be wrong. I just could be. Let me know. Let me know if I am in the comments below. Again, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to this channel. My name is X1 the Gamer. We drop videos like this all the time. Have a great rest of your day. We'll see you next time, guys. Bye-bye.